I don't ever remember wanting to do anything else. And that's something I've heard you say, that you wanted to go be a commando ever since you could remember wanting to do anything. And I think I was exactly the same way. It was, I felt growing up, I grew up in the piney woods of Southeast Texas in a rural small town. And where high school football is everything. It's just a few thousand people in the town. You get at least that or more at the games or the Friday night lights every Friday. And I ran around the woods. I played Army, and I wanted to be a combat leader. That's what I wanted to do. And I played in sandbox, my G.I. Joe figures, my little plastic Army men, and that's just kind of what I wanted to do. And then when I was probably in about junior high school, and I was kind of figuring out. I hear about the Green Berets. I had a cousin that was a Green Beret, highly decorated Silver Star recipient from Vietnam. He was kind of a mentor to my dad growing up, and so I heard a little bit about some of those, the snake eaters, and started reading some books, and I started learning about the SEAL teams. And I remember distinctly a little movie coming out in, I think it was 1990, a little movie called Navy SEALs, starring Charlie Sheen, who was all about winning. And
he should have actually joined the teams and stayed in the teams. He'd probably be in much better shape right now.
No doubt, he definitely would have been better for him. No doubt. But that really was something that kind of propelled me. Like, hey, what is this? What is this organization? I started reading about it, started learning about it, reading a lot of books about SEALs in Vietnam, and decided that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a SEAL. So I went to the Naval Academy to pursue that dream, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. I turned down an appointment to West Point because I wanted to go Navy. I wanted to be a SEAL. And lo and behold, as I graduated from the Naval Academy, came up with a service selection night before our graduation, I did not get selected for the SEAL teams. And that was crushing. It was a soul-crushing event for me to think that I was going to go out in the surface fleet. I wasn't going to be a SEAL. I was going to go be on a ship, be a surface warfare officer. And yet it took me 3 years. I continued to pursue that and persevere through a lot of challenges. And through a lot of luck and a lot of hard work, the doors were open for me to be able to go, to get a billet to go. And I had some outstanding mentors that looked out for me and opened some doors for me to make that happen. And I was able to go and go to BUDS, our SEAL training. And when I was there, I think looking back on that time in the surface fleet was awesome for me, because it allowed me to gain immense responsibility and maturity that I probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And in kind of the peacetime, pre 9/11 SEAL teams, as an assistant platoon commander, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for leadership, and so I was thrust into leadership positions in the surface fleet, and I gained that. And I also gained a measure of just appreciation for where I was, and when everyone was, when other folks were whining about how tough training was, I was just excited and fired up to be there, just for the opportunity to do that. And so for me, then I went and served at a SEAL team as a assistant platoon commander, and certainly the highlight of my time in the teams was working in Task Unit Bruiser. And I felt like that's where had I not had that experience, which I almost didn't get, by the way. I mean, I wanted to stay at I was at SEAL Team 5, and I wanted to stay at SEAL Team 5 with the guys that I loved and trained with. And my commanding officer at the time said, "No, you're senior. We're going to rotate you to SEAL Team 3. You're going to deploy 6 months ahead." I was furious about that I was going over there, and lo and behold, I get over and get to work for Jocko and Task Unit Bruiser, and with an amazing crew of guys from Charlie Platoon. That was and it just wouldn't have been the same otherwise. And I still love the boys from Team 5, of course, but it was just a phenomenal experience to be able to have that. And you taught me to be the combat leader I needed to be through a workup cycle, prepared me, and then unleashed me and Charlie Platoon on the battlefield to get after it in a way that was phenomenal, where we were able to have a historic deployment that made an impact and saved a lot of lives and did tremendous damage to the enemy. And we came back from that from lessons learned, provided tons of lessons learned, and taught SEAL leaders for the next generation. That to me was such an incredibly rewarding experience. And I think something that built our company now, Echelon Front, and what we're doing, and the ideas that have become the book Extreme Ownership, where when I was teaching that leadership training and you were running training for the West Coast teams, providing those lessons learned to teach guys to be ready for those most difficult combat situations. And I was proud to train those guys and see the next generation of SEAL leaders go out onto the battlefield and accomplish some extraordinary stuff and reprove the principles that we learned and revalidate them in different environments. And that was incredibly rewarding for me, and I think really shaped when I decided to get out a few years ago after you'd retired, and really shaped what this has become. And it's still rewarding to work with leaders in all aspects of businesses across industries and see the light bulb come off in their head and watch them just go get after it and lead and win.
Hey, back when you said that you weren't selected to be a SEAL, what does that mean? Like, you have to be selected? Like, I can't just, hey, I want to be a SEAL. Let me join Buds. Let me get through that and become a SEAL. Like, how does that work?
Well, you have to get a billet to go. We call it billets in the military.
What does that mean?
That means that you have a slot. You get a slot. Here's an opportunity. And, for us, like coming out of the Naval Camp, we had 16 SEAL billets. So 16 people got to go. We had a prior enlisted SEAL in my class, so only 15 guys were getting to go. Probably had 200 people that wanted to go be a SEAL, and you go through a screening process, and after that you maybe have 60 or 80 people that are eligible to go, and only 15 of those are going to get selected. I was not one of those 15.
So as far as the process goes, then you can't just be some dude. Like the screening process, how you're saying.
Echo, the piece that you're missing is that there's basically two parts of the military. There's officers, and there's enlisted guys. And the officers, the basic requirement to be an officer is you have to have a college degree. If you have a college degree, then you can become an officer. Yeah. And if you don't have a college degree, then you're an enlisted guy. I enlisted in the Navy out of high school, didn't have a degree, and therefore it was pretty easy to get to go to SEAL training because they need more enlisted SEALs than they need officers. And so it's pretty easy to get what Leif's talking about, a billet as an enlisted guy. Oh, okay. Because they just want to have they need you. The officers, there's all kinds of officers that want to be SEAL officers. So they have hundreds and hundreds, if not probably thousands of people that apply to be SEAL officers, and they take a very small number, 30 or 40 a year tops. And with enlisted, there's probably 1,000 a year that show up and go through. And so that was the challenging part. And for me, I actually didn't become an officer until I was already in the SEAL teams for 8 years. And then once I did that, it was a hard program that I got picked up for as well. But coming right out of the Naval Academy is very, very hard to get one of those billets. But like Leif said, and actually his sister platoon commander that was in Task Unit Bruiser was the same way. Didn't get picked up, had to go to the surface fleet and drive a ship for a while, and then showed up at the SEAL teams and was in Task Unit Bruiser.
We actually went through Buds together in the same Buds class.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I actually liked it because you guys knew how to do some of the administrative stuff that most SEAL officers did not know how to do.
Evaluations.
Yeah, so that was awesome.
So you say, if you're an officer, it's harder. And they choose just a few guys, right? So if you're an officer,
I'm not saying as an officer it's harder, but there's less billets, as Jocko just explained.
Oh, okay. And so what's that based on? There's less. Like, hey, I'm going to choose him, but not you. Is that based on the screening process, or
they based it on? So you got out of the different commissioning sources, they got a certain number of billets assigned. So, and then you, it's not luck. It's based on your record. So it's based on your grades at school. I mean, you had to have a high GPA, which I did not, Echo. And then you had to have why don't you just rub salt in the wounds, Echo? All by,
I'm just trying to understand,
But no,
you kind of think
the other thing they also based it on PT scores as well. So physical training scores. So you go through the SEAL fitness test, and so. I mean, I'm going up against guys that are collegiate swimmers and cross country runners and folks like that who are crushing me on the test, and putting up ludicrous numbers. Whereas, so I could pass the test to go, but you got to go way above and beyond that to even be competitive.
Right,
so that's kind of where where it was difficult. The other issue I had was that I had a bit of a conduct record as well, which I got in a lot of trouble. I still had a lot of restriction, and I marched a lot of tours, and I had a lot of demerits. And when I had some upperclassmen who told me to do something I didn't like a couple of times, I told them what I thought about it.
Let them know.
And that didn't work out too good for me.
God.
Troublemaker.
All part of the learning experience, though.
Yeah.
So